Biserke Cvjetičanin, an esteemed international researcher in cultural policy and development, was our inspiring colleague. This presentation briefly charts her relentless work in cultural development and policy by giving an overview of her professional life and achievements linked with IRMO for the entire duration of her career. After graduating from the University of Zagreb in 1965, Biserka joined IRMO, or rather the Institute for African Research, as it was called back then. She remained at IRMO throughout all the subsequent phases, building a career in which the changes in the focus of research at IRMO were also reflected in her research interests and professional activities. Biserka's interest in research topics that involve cultural and social issues started with her master's and PhD thesis, which focused on African literature and how it reflects African social and cultural reality. Her study visits to Sorbonne University in Paris and the School of Oriental and African Studies at the University of London during the 1970s prompted her international engagement and exposure. Biserka's early research work dating from 1970s covered social and cultural changes in post-colonial Africa and other developing countries. In that early period, Biserka's published titles included Novel and African Reality, History of African Literature.
Ono što danas čini Senghora modernim uopće u njegovom poimanju svijeta, to je što je on stalno govorio o tome da su afričke kulture jednako vrijedne kao i druge kulture, što danas zaista nitko ne stavlja u pitanje, ali da su različite.
Report on long-term projections of educational and cultural cooperation between Yugoslavia and developing countries. Report on non-alignment and cultural cooperation between developing countries, special issues of the journal Cultural Worker, and many more. Research commitment and interest in global development processes contributed to the social and cultural ties between Yugoslavia and African countries. She disseminated the knowledge gained through research at numerous international expert and scholarly gatherings. She was involved in numerous technical assistance projects for developing countries with other IRMO colleagues. This work has taken Biserka and other IRMO researchers throughout Africa, Asia, and America.
Tako smo kroz dokumente prikazali borbu nesvrstanih za jedan novi informativni poredak, za ravnopravni protok informacija i to kroz u okviru Ujedinjenih nacija i kroz pokret nesvrstanih.
During the 1980s, Biserka's research focus broadened towards more comprehensive cultural, social, and communication development. She started systematically researching the cultural policies and cultural development trends, as well as the impact of information and communication technologies on social and cultural development, which was reflected in a volume of her published work. Broadening the geographical and thematic scope of research in cultural policy gradually led to cooperation with supranational bodies like UNESCO and the publication of the first comparative analysis of global cultural policies in 1992. UNESCO and IRMO jointly developed the methodology for the comparative studies. Biserka co-edited 3 regional report volumes analyzing the regions of Africa, Asia, the Pacific, and Europe. On the national level, in 1998, Biserka co-edited the seminal study titled Cultural Policy of the Republic of Croatia National Report. This report marked the beginning of the articulation of cultural policy in independent Croatia, a better focus on cultural policy research, and a more in-depth engagement of researchers from different fields and disciplines on issues concerning culture and cultural development. IRMO-a's cooperation with the Council of Europe and UNESCO had another important critical strand in Biserka's work, the founding of the Cultural Link Network.
Culture Link ili kulturno povezivanje dio je programa pod naslovom Svjetsko desetljeće kulturnog razvoja što ga je proglasila Opća skupština Ujedinjenih naroda i koordinaciju povjerila UNESCO. Ta je specijalizirana organizacija u Hrvatskom institutu za međunarodne odnose našla marljivog i plodnog suradnika.
Culture Link was founded jointly by UNESCO and the Council of Europe in 1989 in order to establish an international network that would interlink the existing sectoral and thematic cultural networks and promote research cooperation concerning cultural development and international cultural cooperation issues. Throughout its work, Culture Link has facilitated international cultural cooperation and dialogue among its members and kicked off discussions on the international level with other relevant organizations and networks. Biserka was the coordinator of the Cultural Link Network for the entire duration of its functioning and a driving force of the entire network. Cultural Link's work has been undertaken by researchers with multidisciplinary backgrounds from the Department of Culture and Communication at IRMO, who joined Biserka in forging new agendas and investigations in cultural development and policy. Biserka was very proud of the achievements made by Cultural Link Network and its contribution to the international discussions on cultural development. The influential role of Cultural Link can be illustrated by, for example, the topic of networks and digital culture, which was at the core of Cultural Link's research interest in the 1990s and early 2000s, long before these topics became a cultural policy agenda on the international level. Along with organizing numerous international conferences, seminars, and workshops, Cultural Link also had vibrant publishing activities, including the Cultural Link Review, an edited volume series entitled Cultural Link Joint Publication Series, and the newsletter C News. Also, Cultural Link was one of the first cultural networks to start digital services as early as 1994.
Dakle, te su knjige rezultat istraživanja koji su poduzeti zajedno sa stranim istraživačima i domaći, ukupno 120 istraživača.
Along with publishing activities, Cultural Link has organized over 20 international conferences, meetings, and seminars focusing on different aspects of cultural research. These events were often organized in collaboration with various local, national, and international partners.
Između te dvije svjetske konferencije mreže Culture Link dogodile su se brze i velike promjene koje su naravno donosili globalizacijski procesi, procesi dezintegracije, integracije.
Among those, 3 world conferences focused on networks and communication dynamics. Biserke Cvjetičanin was the chair of the scientific and organizing committees for all 3 world conferences, each gathering a large number of participants from numerous countries worldwide. All 3 conferences were, in diverse ways, dedicated to communication, networking, and evolving aspects of culture. In addition to research and networking activities, Biserka contributed to policymaking and implementing new directions for cultural development on national and international levels. Nationally, she served as Vice Minister of Culture for 4 years. As Vice Minister of Culture, Biserka encouraged professionalization, democratization, and decentralization of Croatia's cultural sector and policy. She tackled numerous challenges in the cultural sector while fostering culture's openness, inclusivity, and permeability as vital values and principles. In her mandate as a Vice Minister, the first ever planning document for cultural development in Croatia, entitled Croatia in the 21st Century, The Strategy of Cultural Development, has been elaborated. This document was a turning point in the strategic orientation of national cultural development. Internationally, she participated in a number of programs and projects within the framework of UNESCO related to the field of culture and cultural development. Biserka received recognition for her academic and cultural achievements. In 1989, on the occasion of the 320th anniversary of the University of Zagreb, Biserka received the University of Zagreb Award for her accomplishments in scholarly research. In 2003, Biserka received the Legion of Honor, the highest French Order of Merit, for her accomplishments in developing French-Croatian cultural relations and cooperation. Her connection to France and Francophonie has remained an essential point of her identity and work, also visible through her participation in the Alliance Française and the French Institute in Zagreb. From 2000 to 2012, Biserka consistently published columns in the national periodical Zarez. Her columns were spaces of new and critical insights into the world of cultural policy, covering topics from international to local significance. Biserka's columns made cultural policy issues more accessible to wider audiences and pushed cultural policy to the fore of public interest and debate. After fruitful decades of employment, Biserka retired in 2009. Her retirement was only formal, as she continued to be active in IRMO that honored her with the emerita status. She continued to pursue her research interests as an emerita and worked through the Cultural Link Network and Miko Tripalo Center, organizing international conferences, writing articles and chapters for various book projects and journals, and writing and editing books. In June 2023, Biserka passed away. Her passing has greatly impacted IRMO and the cultural policy research community. Numerous friends and colleagues expressed their condolences with kind words, remembering Biserka and acknowledging her legacy to the international cultural policy world. With this presentation, we honor the life and work of Biserke Cvjetičanin. We aim to maintain her spirit of optimism and keep the lasting dedication to cultural policy research ongoing, nurturing the old global ties and forging new ones through the newly founded Cultural Link Center for Research in Cultural Policy, Development and Cooperation. Thank you, Biserka.